stuff. Now let's get to what everybody wants to talk about. We have Alabama beats South Carolina in Columbus 29-22, a fourth quarter comeback for the Tide. I'm going to start with this before anybody says anything. There is a ton of criticism thrown at this team, for myself included, and rightfully so. There was times for criticism in this game, but you have to look at it in context. We've had 5 weeks of tough, hard football. And we've found a way to win every single time. We've done something historic that no other team has done in the SEC. We beat 4 ranked teams in a row in conference play. And I don't think that it can get overlooked, the resiliency of this team. The grit, the want to win, all of it. The determination, all of it. And something that came across my Instagram feed this morning was this from Nick Saban. So I want to play it real quick.
Of our team for a long time. Everybody's got such a high expectation for what our team should be. I was just happy to see our players be happy about playing a game and winning. And it really sort of, if you want to know the truth about it, pisses me off when I talk to people that have this expectation, like they're disappointed that we only won the game 14-13 and in the way we played. Really, that's frustrating. You want to talk about something that's frustrating? That's frustrating to me. For our players who play with a lot of heart in the game.
So I want people to think about that as we go forward into this. And again, there is reasonable criticism to be had in this game. But I say any criticism I will say in this game, and I do have stuff I do want to say about this game. It's not that we're going to come off scot-free or anything like that. But I want to say it in the way of, I think this team can win a national championship. I said at the beginning of the season, we have some special guys. We have some special players. We have guys who have jumped their way right up to the top of some of my favorite in the history of Alabama. We've done special things this year. So I think all the criticism, all the flaming, everybody needs to take a half step back, look at what we've accomplished, look at where we came from week 1, and say, you know what? We didn't have our best yesterday, but teams before us, before this Crimson Tide team, teams last year, would have lost that game. These guys went out, they found a way to win it after the past 4 weeks that we've just had. We've had 4 of the hardest games we will have all year. We won those, and then we went out and we gritted out a tough win against a South Carolina team who was up for it. So I think everybody needs to take a half step back and say, you know what? Was I happy with the way we played? No. Was the team happy? DeBoer, was he happy? No. Nobody was happy with how we played, but we got to win where other teams probably would not have got to win. And that's special. The resiliency in this team is special. We'll talk about some of the stats real quick and box score watch a little bit in this game. And then we'll go in, we'll talk a little more about some of the good things and then some of the more critical things that we did in this football game. Starting off, Ty Simpson, still doing a great job, not throwing interceptions, 24 for 43, 252, 2 touchdowns. Jam Miller on the ground. We're going to talk about our running game. Jam Miller, 10 for 26. Jeremy Bernard again. Ran 3 for 23 and 1 touchdown critically. Receiving, Daniel Hill, 4 catches, 76 yards. Leading receiver for the Tide. Ryan Williams, 7 catches with 72 yards. Jeremy Bernard, 5 for 54. And then Jam Miller, 3 for 23. A couple of numbers for South Carolina. Lenore Sellers, 18 for 32, 222, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He also led them in rushing, 18 carries for 67 yards. Matt Fuller, 12 for 19. And then Rashul Fashion, 5 for 17. So other than Lenore Sellers, we did a great job containing the run. Receiving, Nick Harbor had that 1 big catch for a touchdown, 1 catch for 54 yards. Fashion had 4 catches for 47, and then Jaden Sellers 3 for 38. For Bama, total as far as passing yards go was 535 or 530, 253, and then a rushing for 72. For South Carolina, total numbers 111 yards rushing, 222 through the air. So I want to get into it and say I want to start with. I said in the pregame show, if you guys watched, this game was not going to be as cut and dry as a lot of people thought it was going to be. When you look at South Carolina, you look at a team that has talent all over the field. They have not clicked this year. They've underperformed all season, but there was always going to be a game where they were going to bow their necks up and they were going to just get down and play football. And who else would they do it against other than Alabama? I think that I look at someone like UCLA as a team that has talent everywhere, but they can't click or they don't click week to week. I look at South Carolina the same way. I think South Carolina is a better team than UCLA, but the point is, I think that when you have a team that's got a mobile quarterback, he's got dynamic receivers, they have a defense that plays very aggressively, I think they will find ways to have success whenever they are willing to get down and do the dirty stuff. And what other week would you do it than when Bama comes to town? It's also homecoming. That crowd was loud. It was excited. It's a tough place to play. So I think that they were ready for this game. And they showed it. They went out, they played hard. And again, any criticism that gets thrown at Bama in this game may be justified, maybe not. But you also have to look at it and say there's 22 guys on the other side of the field that play SEC ball. They are some of the best players in their positions in the country, and they wanted to win that game too. So any criticism that you throw at our team, you also have to look at the other side and say, well, they played their best game of the year. This was a one-game season for them. This is, for South Carolina going forward, it's a one-game season throughout, but especially when it's homecoming, when Bama comes to town, all that good stuff. Now, am I going to say we played perfect? No. We played probably our worst game since the Florida State game. And honestly, I say that not even in criticism of the players necessarily. I look at it more of as the preparation side, which I thought the same thing against FSU. We can match up personnel for personnel with everybody in the country, but when our preparation isn't there, I think that that's when we struggle the most. Because if one guy has a bad week, if Ryan has a bad week, or Germ or Jam, if any of those guys have a bad week, we have talent around the field that can step up and help out and supplement. I just didn't feel like we prepared correctly in this game. And I'm not saying we were lazy in practice or we were not motivated, not focused. Everybody knew this was a trap game. It was the biggest trap game we could ever imagine. Excuse me. But did we come into this game with the right game plan? I don't think so. And we as fans have right to criticize. We have our rights to speak our piece and say what we want. We're fans, and as long as it's not unreasonable or unruly, I think it's fine. But I say all this with the full intent of saying I hope and I want our team to get better. So I'll just preface it with all that. Now, again, my criticism doesn't necessarily focus on the players. It's on the game plan that we came forward into this game with. When I think South Carolina as an identity of their football team, I think they have a good mobile quarterback. I think they have some explosive wide receivers, and I think they have some of the best edge rushers of the country. Now, the biggest one of those three is the third one. When I think you're playing against somebody who has great edge play, great edge rushers, guys who are fast, they can get to the quarterback quickly, they can get him off his spot quickly. For me, in my head, I'm thinking as an offense, I'm thinking check downs, stuff in the flat, passes to the tight end, quick stuff off the line. I don't want the quarterback to be holding the ball. What did we come out and do? Under center, play action, tied, turning his back to defenses, ran inside zone runs out of the shotgun. I just don't think we played I don't think we put our best game plan forward to play this game. I think we played straight into their strengths of their defense, and we saw it with our offensive production. We scored 7 points in 3 quarters. Defense scored 7 points in 2 possessions. So do I think when I look at it and say it's a scheming problem, not even a game plan problem as a whole, I look at our offense and I say, are we able to score more points than 7 points in 3 quarters? Yes, of course we are. We've seen it. Is that South Carolina team good enough to stop us from scoring 10 or 20 points in this game? No, they're not. And your defense already spotted you 7. So when I look at those two things combined, even if we don't play our best game on offense, if we play a B or a C game, we still score more than 21. We score at least 21, rather. And then defense went and got you another pick 6 this week. So I think the poor passing scheme is one of the big things for this. But then we also have to talk about the elephant in the room, no pun intended. It's the lack of run game. There was a time, and I said this going into the South Carolina game, if we can't find a run game here, I will be concerned. And it was the worst it's looked all season. Maybe South Carolina sold out to stop the run. I still got to go back and watch film. As far as our blocking schemes go, I don't think I love some of them from what I saw on the replays. But this was the week I said we had to find a run game, and we did not find it. It was as bad as it's been all year. 19. I saw at one point it was 19 carries for 17 yards or something like that. That's not good enough. I'm no football genius. I am no great commentator. 17 for 19 is not good enough. Just going to leave that out there. You do not have to be a genius to figure that out. For the second week in a row, Jeremy Bernard is in our top 2 of running backs. Ryan Williams, I think, was our second best last week. Jerm's our second best this week. So we have to find a run game out. And we have a bye week, both for us here at Talking Tide. We can go through and watch film and break some of this stuff down. And I'm sure we'll put all that to video. But then also the team has this bye week to say, what are we doing wrong? We have the personnel up front. We have a good enough offensive line. We have a good enough running backs. We have guys who are freaks like Daniel Hill, who's, once he's in open space, he's Derrick Henry. He's impossible to bring down. But there's something that we are missing that we are just not clicking in a certain spot. I don't know if it's run blocking to open up holes. If we do a great job in pass block, there's no holes being opened up. We're just a nice, solid, cohesive wall protecting Ty. Maybe we're focusing too much on just being a cohesive wall and we need to open up some lanes. I don't know what it is. But again, we have a bye week. I'm going to go do a ton of film watching from there was a game this on Friday. I think it was somebody threw for like 608, and then another team ended up running for 372. I'm going to go watch that team that ran for 372 and say, you know what? We can pick things out of this that we should do better. So I'm going to go do that, and I'm sure the team will do that and look and say, where is our lack of run game coming from? Because it's not athletes. We have the athletes. I don't think Jam's 100%, and we've talked about before, nobody at this point in the season's 100%, but I think he's really hurting. He suffered that preseason injury, then a concussion against Missouri. And against Missouri, we looked good running the ball until he got hurt, and then it's been downhill after that. So I think that we have done a good enough job in supplementing the run game with short passes and screens, things like that, but we have to find a run game going forward. So that's going to be the biggest thing coming out of the bye week that we need to be improved upon. And for me, as a guy who loves a well-balanced offense, I grew up when Nick Saban had Derrick Henry and Trent Richardson and Mark Ingram, and we had a 2-back system, and we would run it all over the field on people, and we threw the ball when we had to, and we had good enough quarterbacks who could get the ball down the field when we needed them to. We played a perfectly balanced offense. I love playing you carry the ball 31 times, you pass it 29 times type of offense. We can't do that right now. As someone who loves a balanced offense, I was begging to stop running the ball. Because in this game, it hurts you in 2 ways. So when I look at a team like South Carolina and they have quality edge rushers on both sides, and again, the offensive line did a good job. I saw a lot of flack put on them. We'll talk about that in a second. When you have 3, I would say you have 3 or less seconds as a quarterback to get rid of that ball. One thing I never want to do as a quarterback, knowing that there are some NFL talent guys running at me, is turn my back to them. Every time we lined up in the I formation and ran a play action, boot, or anything like that, Ty's got his back to those guys for a second. And in a football play, 1 second is a long time because it allows those guys to break free. It's harder for Ty to read coverages when he turns his back. You make the offensive line have to work harder and work longer. The thing is, whenever you're a quarterback and you drop back, you fake the handoff, and then you turn around, I would say Ty probably at max was getting through 2 reads. I would say that he probably got through his first read first. And then if he wasn't there, he had to jump over to his second read as a wide receiver. And if it's not there, it's just the play is dead. There were plays in there where he's not getting through that first read without having to move, without getting moved off his spot. And I think that whenever you put him in a play action situation, that makes it so much harder. The caveat to that as well is you don't have a run game. Nobody's buying the play action. There were times whenever you talk about play action, what that's trying to do, you're trying to do one of 2 things. You're trying to freeze the defenders. If they're blitzing or they're stepping up, you're trying to freeze them. And then you're also trying to draw eyes into the backfield from a safety spot or a corner spot. You're trying to create a little bit of just pause in that defense. That defense was not pausing. They were running downhill full speed every time at Ty because they know we don't have a run game. Somebody inside can go clean it up. And 9 times out of 10, the running back doesn't get the ball. So I don't think that was the best game plan coming into this game. And did our guys play our best game? No. Ryan had a big drop. Ty overthrew a guy late in that game. He overthrew a couple of deep balls. We didn't play our best game. We had a couple of drops. We didn't play our best game. But whenever you have stuff like that, I think that stacks up against you, it makes it way harder. Where I do want to give credit is that offensive line. There was a lot of flack thrown around for this offensive line. I didn't really understand it because I think, again, whenever you're put in a situation where Ty has to spend too much time in the backfield or plays take too long to develop, I think that it makes the offensive line's job so much harder. And I cheated a little bit. I just wanted to confirm I saw what I saw. We did PFF grades last week on Tuesday. We'll do it again tomorrow. But when I looked at those PFF grades, when I looked at pass blocking, I didn't see any big numbers that jumped out as big negatives. And then I went in to double check. Ty only got hurried 12 times in that game. Spoiler alert, Lenore Sellers got hurried 23 times in that game. That's a bad offensive line. He got sacked twice. It happens. But I think that offensive line did a good enough job. I just think the scheming put them and Ty in a very tough spot. I think our lack of run game is real. I think our lack of offensive line protection and passing production was something of our own making, personally. And again, maybe Grubb in this offense saw something that we didn't see in the film and all that stuff. I know they're coming into this game with the best intentions, but I think that you have to be able to make adjustments in the game. And guess what? In the fourth quarter, that was Grubb at his best. That fourth quarter touchdown drive, that was Grubb at his very, very best. The play calling, the execution, all of it was fantastic. So it took a little bit of time, but we did make the right adjustment, and we won that game because of it. That fourth quarter, I'm going to go back and watch that fourth quarter drive. We might do a live video on Instagram or over here and just break it down. We have a bye week, man. We got plenty of time to kill. So I want to go back and rewatch that and really talk about what makes it so great, especially against the South Carolina team that's so susceptible to anything on the flats, tight end routes, check down screens, all that kind of stuff. They're so susceptible to it. That was the only thing I don't want to come out of this game saying it feels like a lost opportunity, because there are games where we've played and we haven't played our best. The other team has actually just straight up beaten us, and it happens. That didn't happen in that game. We were scheming ourselves into problems. So, but again, when I say you have to make adjustments, it was late, but we made adjustments. That 2-point conversion nearly gave me a heart attack. I can't say I didn't like the play because of the design. The drawing up of it was fantastic, man, it scared me. As soon as I saw, I think it was Jam Miller go under for a direct snap. Ugh. I had a lump in my throat. And again, I trust Ryan Grubb. I trust this offense, and we got the 2-point conversion, but it added some gray hairs onto my head. And then we got to talk about the defense. This defense, I said it week in and week out. They play for moments. You're playing against a offense that has a Jalen Milroe caliber freak at quarterback. So we knew it wasn't going to be an easy game. We know Bama's history with mobile quarterbacks, but we could have not had a single offensive snap in that first half, and we still lead in the half. We still lead at halftime. We would have led 7-6. So, or no, actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, we would have led 7-6. We were up 14-6, but we would have led 7-6 going into the half. If the offense didn't touch the field once, we would have led in that game. So there was some flack I'd seen thrown at the defense after that Nick Harbor touchdown. Look, South Carolina has freaks at offense. They got a freak at quarterback. Nick Harbor's an elite wide receiver. They will get their own. South Carolina came into this game low scoring average. They scored 20 points a game. They scored 22. So we held them to right about average. And that's with our defense playing most of the game on the field. I mean, time of possession wasn't close in this game. So defense had a lot to do. I'll pull the time of possession real fast. Defense was on that field for a long time. It was 32 minutes to 27 minutes. In that first half, I know in that first quarter, I think we had the ball a total of 3 minutes. They had it for 12 and a half. So that defense was out there for a long time. And if you're out there for a long time, offenses that have elite players will score. And this defense played for moments. We put them in a tough spot with the punt debacle. We could not move the ball very well on offense. And if you follow me on Instagram, said, you know what? We need a moment here from the defense. We got a touchdown. We've leveled it up. They went out and they secured a moment. Deontay Lawson went out there, got that strip sack. And Tim Keenan had no idea about that ball. That ball just miraculously fell under him, and he covered it, and we recovered. I saw Deontay Lawson trying to scramble up there and try and dig that ball out. I don't know how it ended up under TK without him knowing it, but we'll take it. Huge moment, huge play for Deontay Lawson, who hadn't had his best season this year. He's played fine, but that was a season-defining moment, I think, for him. So good for this defense. They continue to show up in moments. Got another pick six. They're creating turnovers. They're doing enough at the right time, and they've done it week after week. Also, it's been a long time since I've seen a Bama defense go out there with the bad intentions that this defense had. I mean, they were, in that first quarter, they were hitting guys. Bray Hubbard had a big one for a pass breakup. Who else? I think it was Drake Kirkpatrick had another big one. And we're not hitting small guys. We're hitting some big guys out there at South Carolina, and they were out there headhunting. So good for them. This defense, they showed up. They were intense. They were sharp. They wanted it. And they won us the football game. If we're all being completely honest, the defense won us that football game. Offense did a great job rallying and being able to do it in the last moments and not giving up. But defense won us that football game. And there are times when that happens. When you have a defense that's as elite as this one is, you can't look at an Ole Miss team and say, oh, yeah, the defense won us this football game, because they supplement an offense that's just high-powered. Our offense is normally high-powered. We weren't in this game. The defense took it upon themselves and said, hey, you know what? We'll go win this game. You go score whenever we give you the ball back in plus territory, but we'll go win this game. And they did. And we've done that week in and week out. So good job for the defense. We only recorded 2 sacks. I know we had to get pressure for Sellers in this game. We did a good job keeping him pretty limited on passing. Like I said, they have some elite pass catchers out there. But we ended up, Sellers went for 222. He had that one big shot over the top. But overall, we did a good job containing in the secondary. He's hard to bring down. He's fast. He does his best in scramble drill. But, I mean, we ate that offensive line alive. We knew they were susceptible. We knew they were vulnerable. He was running for his life half of the game, it felt like. I said that as far as the criticism thrown at Alabama's offensive line, well, we had 13 hurries against Ty Simpson. They had 23. So That tells you a lot of the story right there. This defense was creating a lot of problems for Sellers. And again, a guy like Sellers, he's going to make plays happen just because he's a natural athlete. But we did a good job taking advantage of a very vulnerable offensive line. So going forward, for us especially, we need this bye week. We're banged up. We're beat up. We need to find a run game. Try and get some guys getting back healthy. I know Latsir Brooks was out of this game. Isaiah Horton's dealing with an injury. We didn't see him a lot in this game either. So we need this break. We have LSU coming back. Going to be not an easy game. It's never going to be an easy game when you play LSU, but we'll be highly favored in this game. I think we'll be motivated. We come out playing very well after our bye week. Then we have Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois, and then Auburn away. Always a tough environment. It's not an easy stretch, but one thing this team showed me this week that I haven't seen all week is resiliency, or all year is resiliency, because we haven't had to. We've done a good enough job winning games, but we showed resiliency this week, and I'm proud of this team. I'm proud of the players. I'm happy for them, happy for this coaching staff. Every championship team, whenever you look back and you say, you know what, there was a moment of adversity that they battled through to get to where they're at now. I think this was that game. I think this was the moment where you look back and say, you know what? We didn't play our best. We weren't sharp. We didn't win in all three phases of the football game, but we found a way to win. And then now, once we get the opportunity, once we get the win, we go to whether it's an SEC championship or a playoff or just the next game. We had survive and advance, man. That's been the motto of the team for all year. We go out and say, you know what? We got the opportunity now. We didn't play our best this week, but we found a way to win. Now we go out again next week. We got to be sharper. We got to be better, because we're not always going to be able to find that way to win. So we got to prepare better. And again, we have a bye week, so I think we'll do that. Kalen DeBoer has quite a good record coming off a bye week, so I think we'll be much improved. This was a very much needed rest for this team. We've gone through a tough gauntlet, a tough stretch, and again, I'm proud of these guys, man. I really am. I think that what this team has done and what this coaching staff has done with the players and the mentality of this team, it feels different. From last year to this year, doesn't look like the same team. I don't think the team last year wins this game. So that tells you a lot. As far as South Carolina goes, doesn't get any easier for them. They're on a 3-loss schedule already. You got Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and then you have Coastal Carolina, and then in with Clemson. Look, I like Shane Beamer a lot. I really do. If I was a program and I said, you know what, give me Shane Beamer, I'd take him all day long. I like what he's done at South Carolina. I'm concerned for him at this point. Like I said, you're on a 3-game slide. You're looking at possible 4 or 5 losses in a row if you drop games to Ole Miss and Texas A&M. So I'm concerned for him at this point. I think that there are other pieces that will be removed first. But when I look at this season, I see maybe one more win in Coastal Carolina, and that's not a guarantee. So I worry for him a little bit. I do like him. I hope he does well, but I'm glad we got the win this weekend. So, and I know a lot of you are too. I appreciate you guys hanging around. We've probably gone for a little over an hour now, so I appreciate you guys hanging on. Thank you guys for listening. Please do please subscribe. Like I said, this community is growing, and I appreciate all of it. I genuinely do. We have a bye week coming up. We'll do player grades tomorrow, so I'll get that recorded on Monday night. It'll come up on Tuesday. I got a couple other segments, a couple other fun things for the bye week. Not a lot to talk about as far as Bama games, but we got other stuff we can talk about, coaching searches, all that good stuff. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe button. I will see you tomorrow, and roll Tide.